thanks for watching. This is JJ giving you some of my thoughts on the Harley Benton TE-70 Black Paisley. If you've been following my YouTube channel, you know that I owned one of Harley Benton's entry-level Telecaster style guitars, the TE-20, in a lovely blue finish. I got rid of that. Got the Strat, which is not on the YouTube channel, but you know, it's thoroughly demoed on my Instagram at JJ Tanis Guitar. But I'm a Telecaster lover. You know, I wanted to get a better Harley Benton Telecaster. Now the TE-20 I ordered on chance just because I wanted to see what the fuss was all about, because you know, a lot of YouTubers were singing its praises, and I've been singing its praises. But this one at 159 euros is actually a lot better than the TE-20, obviously. So what are the differences? The hardware is much better. This has got a Wilkinson, an actual Wilkinson bridge with brass compensated saddles, like I was intending to put on my TE-20, but this one comes with it. So the tuners are deluxe tuners. They're unbranded, very generic. The fretwork on this was, you know, let me tell you the honest to God truth, you know, the fretwork is good, but the frets are always really dirty on Harley Benton guitars once they come in. I've had that experience with the Blue Telly. I've had that experience with the Strat, and also this one is no exception. You really have to polish these frets because you know they're very dirty and very scratchy. But there are no sharp fret edges, but just dirty and scratchy. So I did a little bit of work to this, which I'll tell you in a minute. But I wanted to get the Black Paisley, first of all, because of its looks. I mean, it looks terrific, you know. You know, critics might say, well, that's just a photographed kind of Paisley that's been lacquered. But I tell you what, the original 69 Paisley Telecasters, they actually had Paisley wallpaper on the top that was thoroughly lacquered. You know, so what's the difference if this is photographed or not? And I have a thing for Paisleys. I love them. See my tattoo, see my the rug in my living room, and even the cushions, you know, the cushions on the couch. So I have a thing for Paisleys, and I love Brad Paisley. I love James Burton, who had a Paisley signature guitar, and at some point in my life I would love to get my hands on an actual pink Paisley Telecaster, you know, an old one, just for the romantics of it, I suppose. So as I said, the bridge is pretty good. This has better pickups. The pickups on the entry-level Telecasters that Harley Benton make are very generic, I think Chinese pickups. These are Roswell pickups, so they're kind of their house brand pickups, but they sound a little bit better than the ones on the TE-20 and the SD-20 that I owned. This one's got a lacquered neck, which is nice. The other one was unlacquered, which felt a little more comfortable to my hands because, you know, I tend to get sweaty when I play, especially when I play live. So, you know, lacquered necks make it all a little bit slippery. But I sanded this down a little bit. And the best thing is, this has got a string-through body, which is really going to help making it sound like a real Telecaster. This is a real Telecaster, of course, but getting you the Teletone, it's definitely gonna help if you have the string-through body. electronics, you know, dime-sized pots, which doesn't have to be a bad thing. The nut was pretty well filed in, didn't have to do any work to that. But when this came in, as I said, the frets were really dirty. And even though these are deluxe tuners, they were pretty crappy. You know, even when I fastened all of the screws and the little thingies over here, and of course when you order a guitar on chance it's coming from overseas, you have to fasten all the screws because it can kind of, you know, get a little bit dinged up. But not the case with this one. I installed my favorite Kluson lock heads, which are like 30 bucks on top of the price of the guitar. It takes you about, you know, 20 minutes to install them, and they're really, really good. So what are lock heads? Lock heads are tuners that fit right onto the original headstock with these Harley Benton guitars. And you basically, when you string it, you kind of put it up to a little bit of tension, and then you screw down the post, clip the remaining end, and then you tune up. Do a lot of stretching like that, and it's going to be in tune forever. Really, it makes string changes so much more easy, and as long as the nuts filed in well, that is going to give you a guitar that's going to stay in tune very well, and that is also going to have a bit more tone. So polish the frets, installed locking tuners, and you know, the truss rod on this, you know, it's always terrible when you order a guitar from overseas. So this had way too much slack, and I don't know whether that is, you know, their setup or whether it happened during transport, but it needed a lot more truss tension to get it to play right, you know, not buzz in the first 4 positions and not be too high over here. But the saddles on this, you generally don't really have to mess with these on Harley Bentons because they're set up pretty well. I think the pickups sound a little bit better than the TE-20, and I think it's a lot better looking too. By the way, this was also made in China, whereas the cheaper models were made in Vietnam. To me, from my experience, this actually feels a lot like a Squier Classic Vibe or the Fender Modern Player Telecasters that they used to offer. So that's a good thing. I think it's much better value for money than a Squier Classic Vibe, for that matter, and I think it's certainly, you know, is up to the standard of a Mexican-made Fender, or even some of the, you know, the classic player models. So don't kid yourself. This is a really great guitar. If you're willing to put in a little bit of work, you know, to get it set up right, change the tuners, and that sort of thing. So I really like it. I really, really like this thing. For 159 euros, it's a no-brainer. They also offer the TE-52, which is a more traditionally styled Telecaster in terms of looks, which, you know, it has a butterscotch finish and a black scratch plate. They have the TE-90, which is a little bit more upscale. They have a thin line of that, and they have a Cabronita kind of thing with a reverse headstock. So lots of cool options for not very much money, if you're willing to put in the effort of upgrading the tuners and having it set up properly. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. I love it.